Welcome back to Strangers Cryptids. Tonight, we dive into the dark truth behind a legend. If you follow modern female MMA, you know the name Chloe. She is the youngest world champion in history. Undefeated, untouchable. No one has ever knocked her down. When she steps into the octagon, her eyes are dead and empty. She fights with a ruthless aggression, as if pain is just a myth. The media calls her a machine born for the blood sport, but they are wrong. No one is born that strong without a few scars. The chilling truth behind her empty eyes was forged in a single night of unimaginable horror. It all started over a decade ago. Chloe was just a normal girl. Her father, Arthur, was a famous world-class boxer, her hero. But their world shattered when her mother fell terminally ill and passed away suddenly. Arthur's spirit broke. He lost fights, went deep into debt, and was eventually banned from the sport. The hero became a heavy alcoholic. To drown his pain, he dragged a young Chloe into their cramped, dusty garage gym, forcing her to train until her knuckles bled. "There is no mercy in the ring," Arthur would slur, reeking of cheap booze. "If you are weak, you get crushed. Punch through the pain, Chloe." She cried every day, her body covered in bruises, but she never complained. She thought if she became the fighter he wanted, maybe her father would finally smile again. Then a glimmer of hope arrived. Arthur brought home a woman named Evelyn. She was beautiful and kind. For a brief moment, the darkness lifted. The house was clean, Arthur drank less, and he even laughed again. But the happiness was a fragile illusion. Months later, a strange, freezing chill crept into the house, not from the weather, but a deep, unnatural cold that gave Chloe goosebumps. Evelyn started acting paranoid. She claimed that an invisible force, the ghost of Chloe's mother, was watching her, choking her in her sleep. Arthur, stressed and confused, relapsed hard into his drinking habits. Chloe just thought Evelyn was losing her mind. She couldn't have been more wrong. It happened on a night of a raging storm. Chloe woke up in the dead of night. Something was wrong. The house was completely silent. The familiar, loud snoring of her drunken father was gone. Instead, a foul stench filled the air, like rotting meat left in a broken fridge. Chloe slowly opened her father's bedroom door. The bed was empty. Blood soaked the sheets. On the floor lay a thin, translucent layer of skin, shed like a snake's. "Dad?" she whispered, terrified. A raspy, agonizing groan echoed from the basement gym. Chloe ran down the stairs. What she saw in the dim light of the garage would haunt her forever. Arthur was on his knees, but he wasn't alone. Towering behind him was a 2-meter-tall abomination. Its body was pure, raw muscle, supported by sharp, insect-like legs. But the true horror was on its chest. The monster had fused Arthur's upper torso into its own body, using him as a living shield. Arthur was still alive, his eyes wide with unbearable agony, blood pouring from his mouth. The creature's sharp claw grabbed Arthur's head, lifting itself up like a twisted puppeteer. "Run, Chloe, run!" Arthur choked out, right before the monster screeched and lunged at her. Chloe couldn't run. Her legs were frozen. The monster slashed at her, but years of brutal training took over. She dodged, her footwork flawless. She threw punches, striking Arthur's face, the only target the monster presented. Every punch broke her own heart. "Don't let pity blind you," her father's old words echoed in her mind. Through her tears, she saw it, a pulsating, glowing red core, hidden right behind the seam where the monster connected to her father's back, its weak point. The monster swung a lethal blow. Chloe dodged by a hair, stepped inside its guard, and gathered every ounce of her strength. She threw a devastating uppercut, not at the monster, but straight through the agonizing tissue of her father's chest. Her fist pierced the core. The monster let out a horrific wail, its body violently convulsing before collapsing onto the cold concrete floor, taking Arthur with it. As the life faded from his eyes, Arthur looked at Chloe one last time. He wasn't in pain anymore. Chloe walked out of that garage alone. The police arrived the next morning, blaming the carnage on a wild bear attack. No one would ever believe the truth. Today, Chloe stands at the pinnacle of the fighting world. People wonder why she never looks scared, why she never backs down from the most intimidating opponents. It's simple. When you've had to look into the eyes of a true monster and punch through the heart of the father you loved just to survive, nothing in this world can ever terrify you again. Thanks for joining us on Strangers Cryptids. If this story sent shivers down your spine, hit that like button, subscribe, and never ignore the strange noises in your house. Good night.